Hello and welcome to my channel. Uh, Today I am going to have a play with some things that I bought from Janie. It's been a while since I've just had chance or time to just have a bit of a, see how we go kind of thing. So um, if you don't already follow Janie's originals, it's really worth doing so. Also, if you join the closed group, the Crafting with Janie's Originals, then Janie periodically does live sales, stuff that doesn't generally go on the website, or if it goes on the website later sometimes. Now, I am going to use some things that I bought at a recent sale, plus some papers that I've had for a while and something else as well, but I'll just go through it. So recently, Janie had these packs of playing cards, all sorts of different sizes. So I bought one of those. This is kind of an ephemera pack. So I've got some envelopes, doilies, tickets. There's some little ring being porters. There's all sorts in there. I haven't actually even taken it out the packet yet. So we'll be looking at those when we come to decorating. Now, I bought this as well. This is leather, and it came with these fabrics. So I'm thinking that I might use that as the cover, and that we use one of these fabrics for lining the inside, possibly that one. I don't know. We'll see how I feel when I get there. So that will be the actual outer of my journal. And then this again, these were all on the same live sale just recently. So this is great bundle of paper. So this is like braille paper, really textural. Some large music paper, all sorts of smaller, from small to large dictionaries, I think boys' own and girls' own, whatever, I don't really know. So yeah, the girls' own paper, and I think there's the boys' own paper. Yeah, the boys' own paper. These are from real ledgers from a farm, counting the number of uh legs eggs even. So this is from 1944 in January. On Sunday the 2nd, the ducks laid no eggs and the hens laid 5. So those are really quite cool. So that was 1944 and that was 1966. And then just some older paper, this lovely kind of, I don't know what that is, but it's very lovely. It almost looks like to reinforce. It's a Ready Reckoner stamp magazine, some graph paper, some headed paper. This is piano paper, and I'm going to talk a bit more about that. And they're just some other different types of papers. That's from a pattern, I can tell. Now, some of these I will be using as to actually make my signatures with, which is what I haven't done one of those for a while. So I've got that. On a previous site, you can see I haven't had time to do anything. This is another bundle of papers, similar sort of thing. Some illustrated ones in here. That's from Gretel. So lots of vintage papers. I may even dig into I've got some folders of other vintage papers as well to make the signatures. I don't intend to use any new sort of paper. Now, also, Janie gifted this me. She's lovely. I really love my Janie. And this is actually a full, complete roll of piano paper. I mean, the box in itself is just amazing. But this is like, and then I've got, I don't know what song it is. It's Moderato, Key of C. I don't actually look to know what music. I'll have to have a off camera. I'll have to have a proper look and see if I can find out what it is. Oh, Graceful Dance. W.G. Votaleri, maybe piano. Um. So yeah. So I'm wanting to try and use some of this for the signatures. It's going to be a bit of an experiment because obviously we've got these holes, so we'll have to have a think about that. But I just love this. I just love this. It comes in a little box. Yes, I just love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it. So um I will be back and we will get going on actually creating our journal. And we'll start with the cover and then we will work with the signatures. I have decided to use this fabric and I've got some heat and bond, and this is heat and bond light, which means you can sew through it because I kind of like the idea of possibly putting a sewing border around. I might regret it. My machine might go but we will have a go. We'll have a go and see. Not we'll have a rethink. So I am going to go ahead. I'm going to with the heat and bond, you iron. This is like you can see a shiny side that's got the adhesive on. You put it down on the you iron it, sorry, onto the fabric, back of the fabric, and then I'm going to peel the paper backing off and then iron the leather onto that. So that will be what I'm going to do. And we're going to make sure that I have that up that way. I have used the Heat and Bond Light and I have ironed it to the back of my fabric. Sorry, the thing keeps going in and out. I do apologise about my nails. I've been doing some gardening. I did, unfortunately, make a little error here and the things got caught under. But what I will do is once it's bonded onto the leather, we'll trim it. So the other thing I would suggest is you can see the heat and bond was just slightly bigger in certain places, and I always place a to protect my ironing board. I put like an old tea towel or something, just so that it kind of doesn't stick to your ironing board and it just comes away easily. So the next stage then is I'm going to go away and I'm going to now peel off the paper, which she says I'm going to find the edge, and we'll peel off the backing, and then we'll iron this on to, so you can see I'm just peeling the backing off there, and then I will iron this onto the leather, and then I will be back. Okay, so my fabric is now bonded to my leather and I want to trim it. But before I do that, I just wanted to show you what I mean by the heat and bond. So I've got heat and bond light, which is sewable. Okay, if you're going to put anything through your machine, you need to make sure that it's a sewable thing because you don't want to gunk your machine up. If you don't want to sew, or don't have a machine to sew, the Ultra Hold is non-sew. So basically you don't need to sew. So this is a lighter sort of bond and you can sew through it. This one, excuse me, is a stronger bond if you like, and you don't need to sew. Okay. So that's the difference. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to square off my piece. Now I can see that well, this is the straightest edge, so I'm working from that. You kind of just have to make a decision about what is the straightest. So I'm going to line that up against one of my grid lines. Now this one's not too bad. You can see, make sure I've got the make sure I've got the metal side to cut, that it pretty much follows that line, that one there. So going to just trim this little piece off. And I remember now, and I am going to stand up, but hopefully you won't see my head or anything, because I do need a bit of overhead pressure because this is going through the fabric and the leather. Whoops. A bit there. Okay. Right. That's squared off. It's only taking the smallest bits off. So again, now what I'm doing is I'm lining this up with the squares on my thing. And now, because I haven't got a thing here, I'm just using the grid lines on my ruler to make sure I'm getting this one squared off. So I'm just going to make sure I've got the grid line in line with the top here. And again, it's just a small bit that I'm going to take off. Again, best to stand up because you do need the pressure to get through both the leather and the fabric. And then we just got our last one here. Just make sure we're squared off. You need a cutting mat anyway, so I always think, you might as well use the grid lines on it to help you. But definitely, you're never going to get it absolutely perfect because things wobble as you move them, but you get a pretty good line. So you can see this bit. I think this is where the fabric was a bit bigger, so just going to cut. Yeah, so it felt like it didn't go through over there. There we go. A little bit off there. There we go. There wasn't much, but it just means you've got a bit more of a square, and also, sometimes we don't iron right up to the edge, so it just helps. So, what I'm going to do now is to show you how the next step on prepping the cover, because I do want to sew around the edge of it, and if you've used the heat and bond light, you really do need to sew to a fix, but I want to make sure, I'm just having a look to make sure this is square. Yeah. To make sure I sew in the right place, if that makes sense. So I want to put the holes in for my spine before I go ahead and to sew, to make sure I'm not going to then punch through any of my sewing. Now, 2 bits of equipment that I need for this: my metal edge ruler, which has got that central, so it goes from the top, it goes from 0 to 30, but on the bottom we use this center bit, and it goes 1, 2, 3 out to 15 each way, and it just means that you can get a nice center. I'm going to move it a bit closer to me so that I can look at the sort of the millimeter bits, because that's where we're kind of down to, as near as I can. And I want to, why I'm doing this is I want to mark the center. Okay, and I'm using a friction pen. So these are heat erasable. I like to use them when I'm doing fabric, and I'm just going to extend that line down so I know I've got my central line there. Okay. Now I've got that, I'm going to use this. Now this, you can buy it on your own, or you can get it with the the piercing cradle. But this is kind of like a giant spine template, and we don't often use it, but this is the kind of project I would use it for, where I want to not necessarily a set size. It just gives me the sort of the idea. So there are 5 rows of holes, like you see on, some of the spine templates that we get from Janie, okay? But obviously it's longer. What I want to do is I'm going to get the central line of holes over that line that I've just drawn in pen, okay? Now I have had a fiddle around with this just now to make sure I knew where I was going with it. So I'm going to do a 5-hole pamphlet stitch. And the reason I'm going to do a 5-hole pamphlet stitch, if you've seen some of the videos I've done before, you'll know that I'm going to make my signatures out of the vintage papers, so they're not always going to be the same height. If I do, even if I do a long stitch, I run the risk of missing. So missing getting each part of each signature in. So we're going to do 5-hole pamphlet. We're going to have a little bit of a twist on it as well, but that's what I'm going to do. Now, what you need to do, and it will take a bit of playing around for your size. I always try it 2 ways. So first of all, I try it by getting, like I say, get your middle line of holes on that central line that you've just drawn. And then the first thing I'll try is, right, I'll put the rows of the columns, if you like, of holes as near as I can to the ends. And that's what I've got at the moment. So I've got I've got a row here and I've got a row here. And then with the 5-hole, what I would want to do is to find the central, excuse me, the central, oh my goodness, let's try that again, the central hole. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Now the problem with that's 20 holes I've got. If I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, this really is my center, but I've got no hole there, okay? So it's not going to work with me putting the holes on the end. So the next thing I try then is putting them sort of roughly the ends of my book cover roughly halfway between, and it is going to be a roughly. You're going to have to just play it by eye. I'm thinking about this. I'll do this way, and then we'll try something else as well, just to see whether it works, because my brain's now sort of going, oh, maybe. So what I've now done is I've now got the end of my project there and the end of my project there. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So this time, if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and where are we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is my central line. I have a central hole. Okay. Now what I am going to just try, I'm going to take that off. And I'm going to get this ruler back. And I'm going to find the center. And let's see if they correspond, because that might be an easier way of doing it. Let's try it. What have I got? That's 10 there, that's 11. So 10 and a half, 10 and a half, pretty much there. And what I'm going to do then is I'm just going to do that. So that's the actual center of my thing. Let's get this back in. And let's see if that actually works. Yes. Okay, so that might be a quicker way of doing it. Rather than fiddling around, find the center of your middle of your spine and put one of the holes in it. Line the central line across there up and one of the holes on that line. And that has actually worked, because that's given me the same. These are the ends of my project. That's my central hole. I'm just going to... It has moved it just slightly, which is good, because it shows me I wasn't quite central. So that's now the end of my project. Now we need to work out what's halfway between these two. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we've got 10 holes. So we're not going to be able to get an even split. And I'm not worried about that. So what I need to decide first of all, in fact, we might get an even split. Right, first of all, you need to backtrack. While this is the end of my project, that isn't a hole that I want to pierce. I need to decide, now I've got my central holes, I need to decide my end holes. So I think this set of holes is too close. So I'm going to go here. And so that would be here on this one. And I'm marking them with this pen. It's a dry white pen because I'm going to also use this later to pierce my signatures so I know that the holes are in the right place. So let's see now what we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so I don't have an odd number. So I have to decide, do I want the smaller bits in the middle or the smaller bits to the outside? I think I'm going to go smaller to the middle. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got 4 holes there, and 3 and 3. So it means these are a bit closer, these are a bit further apart, but it doesn't matter. Okay, as long as you've got your 5 holes, and that we will use when we come to pierce the signatures. Okay, but for now, what I'm going to do, I don't know if my pen will go through it. I might use my awl. Let's see, let's get everything lined up. I'm going to use my awl just to start with to show me where the holes are. I'm gonna, I use, what have I got? 6 pieces at the ends, you know, the flappy bits you get on the box. So let's put this back on. So having marked everything on where the ends of my projects are, where my middle hole is, it makes it a lot easier for me to see. Now, I'm going to have 5 signatures, and there are 5 holes here. If you wanted more, you could, let's say you wanted, I don't know, 7 signatures, you could do the 5 and then just move this across one to do your extra one so it's in line. But I'm going with 5. Get that in the center. And I'm just going to grab my awl because I want to mark where these holes are going to be. So we're going on this line. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we're going on this line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then on this middle one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this one. I'm hoping I've got this right, pretty much. 1, I've done 1. 1, 2. If it's not exact, you know, it's not the end of the world. 4, 5, and then I've got this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Now what I am going to do, I'm going to just go around with my pen, because sometimes on fabric, when you're fiddling around with other things, those holes disappear. And I don't really want them to disappear. Might have been, you see, can you see I've gone a bit too low on this one? I did think it was a bit close to this end. What do we do? Will we get away with it? I think, can you see, I've just rubbed over that. I'm going to redo these. I am going to punch them with my hole punch as well. So we're going to, I'm just rubbing over these because I've decided, as you can see, I didn't get my middle hole in the right place. So I'm being fussy, and I'm going to do this again. I've turned it around this way this time. I don't know if you can see that. Excuse my head, and my roots and all of that. I want to try and get that. I think I might have. I'm going to rub that off because I think that's what's been causing my issue. That's the end there. That's the end there. That's definitely in the middle. That line is on the middle. Let's go and do them with the awl again. So it isn't all lost just because I made a bit of mistake. I'm going to redo them. Oop. Again, just trying to keep it. You see it's moved again. Yeah. Bear with me. I'm trying to come up with a solution for this. I think maybe it's my hands. I have arthritis and sometimes just don't have the grip. We'll go like that. I think we'll go with it like that. I'm still on the middle there. That's looking better. I'm happier with that. Some of those sound like they're going through where they went through before. These ones I can see aren't. I can see the blue underneath. I can see that I didn't quite go through where they were before. And here. Almost. Just, you can see they're just slightly out, and that is definitely more central. So it's there and there. That one's in. You can see they're a bit lower than they were before. And that's sometimes, don't think, oh, all is lost. If it was paper, then obviously I'd struggle a bit more, but fabric is a bit more forgiving. In terms of the fibers like to go back, so sometimes it just works out. So I'm just going to make sure I've got those holes through, because in a minute I'm going to do from the other side. I'm actually going to punch it with my my screw punch, but I wanted to make sure I've got them all in the right place before I do anything. See, that's nice slap bang in the middle now. So I'm hoping I can now see these through. So you see them. These ones I haven't done, they're at the top of it. So I'm piercing these ones through so that I want to do my screw punching from the other side. I find with leather, when it comes to sewing it, if you screw punched rather than just all punched, it does make it easier to sew. Okay, so I can see all my holes now from this side. It might seem a bit long-winded, and you might find you have an easier way to do it. Just gonna check that one. It's just to the side. There. A bit up there. And there. So by all means, do whatever works best for you. So what I'm looking for now. Oh, where's my? Oh, here it is. I have a small mat which came with a very old screw punch from many years ago, but I still have the little thing. Now, all I'm doing is I'm going to put my screw punch over the hole and push down. Okay, and I've already made, it might mean that you have to go through a couple of times. So I've now got my first hole through. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to punch all these holes, and then I'm going to explain how I'm going to do the sewing. All right. So I will be back. You don't need to watch me do all of this. Or just to say though, it will depend on your leather as to how many sort of goes with the screw punch it will take to go through. So, you know, just you'll know. You'll know. So I now have all my holes ready for my binding. But the next thing I want to do is to sew. So now at least I can see where I need to bring the stitching through on either end so that I don't interfere with this. And I also want to do 2 rows of stitching down here. I find then at least I know that should anything happen with the heat and bond, this is pardon me, this is secured and this is secured. So what I'm going to do, again with the pen and the ruler, I'm going to decide, I'm going to go kind of there. So it's like the second grid line in, I'm getting to go directly down through that thing of holes. And I'm not drawing a whole line because what I don't want to iron the leather. So I'm just giving myself a little indication line there. And then I'll do the same this side. Make sure that goes down through. It just gives me a kind of guide to where I want that kind of line of stitching. So I'm going to stitch around here. And then I'm going to probably use a fancy stitch to go down these two. When I've done that, I will iron this to get rid of the friction pen. So I will be back when all of that has been done. So I have now stitched the edge. Now, when you're doing this, if you've not, like, you know, I've not done this sort of thickness sandwich before, I did try to do runner stitch and my machine didn't like it. So always start, if you're experimenting, with at the bottom of the back. That way it doesn't, you know, you don't really notice it. I did find it didn't really want to take the decorative stitches too well. These ones should all have been like little leaves, but you know, I'm not too worried about it. It still gives a little decorative bit, and I've got my spine ready. So that's the cover. So what I think I'll do is I'll leave this as one video because otherwise it might get a bit overwhelming. And then the next video we'll look at how to create the signatures. And then I'll probably do a separate video for sewing them in. Now I did choose a kind of a burgundy because I've also got a sort of a burgundy wax thread. So it'll all tie in. So so that's how I've prepared my cover, ready to sew. So the next, like I said, the next video will just show you how I decided to create my signatures from all those lovely papers.